Crypto is entering what many people call the opportunity zone. It's a time where major cryptocurrencies are down anywhere between 60 and 90% from their all-time highs and have been that way for almost 2 years now. So much attention has completely vanished from the crypto space. Many people just don't even care about crypto and aren't even watching it. But this is the absolute wrong move. It's a big mistake because in just the last few weeks, we've seen massive progress that could be the cornerstone for the foundation of the next crypto bull market. And if this plays out, it could put crypto right on schedule for a 2024 to 2025 bull market. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. I'm going to explain everything you need to know in this video today as a blockchain developer myself who watches this space and works with this technology on a daily basis. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. And so if that's something that you're interested in, then make sure you smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to get ahead of the next crypto wave, then the best way to do that is to double down on your technical skills and become a blockchain master before that happens. And I can show you how to do that over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about some recent developments that have been shaping up that could be huge for the next crypto bull market. About a month ago, I made a video on my channel talking about how $10 trillion asset manager BlackRock has applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF and how if this ETF gets approved, then it can open up the floodgates for a ton of fresh capital flowing into the crypto markets. And in just the past few weeks, we've seen some developments on this front that look very promising, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But first, let me just do a quick recap in case you missed that video and don't necessarily understand all the moving parts here about why this could be such a big deal. You know, that's okay. On this channel, I make videos to teach you technical topics, and I don't expect you to be a master of finance or economics. So let's take a quick look. So first, let's talk about what are ETFs in the first place. Well, ETF just stands for exchange traded funds, okay? This is a way where you can basically buy shares in an ETF that represent other assets that are backed up inside of this fund so that you can purchase it on traditional financial exchanges. Now, we see ETFs all the time for other assets, and a pretty good example of this that you might understand from other backgrounds is like gold, okay? It's very common for people to purchase gold through an exchange traded fund or ETF because you don't want to buy physical bars of gold. If you go just look at the GLD ticker, that means you're basically buying shares of that which represent actual gold rather than buying bars of gold itself. And so how this would look for crypto is that people could purchase Bitcoin through an exchange traded fund or shares in that fund that would represent actual Bitcoins somewhere else. And BlackRock is one of the major players with their name in the hat for a Bitcoin ETF. So quick recap on who BlackRock is and why that's such a big deal. Well, they're an asset manager with roughly $10 trillion worth of assets under management. Just to put that in perspective, that's roughly 10 times the entire crypto market right now at the time of recording this video. And a quick way to visualize that magnitude is to basically take a website like CoinGecko.com or CoinMarketCap and literally open up 10 different browser windows on your screen to see how big that actually is. That's the value of all the assets that they control, and they are coming for the crypto space. Now, one thing that's important to understand with BlackRock is that they've had many ETFs out there, not just crypto related, obviously, and they have a nearly 100% success rate at getting these ETFs approved. Now, it's important to understand that because they're not the first person to apply for a Bitcoin ETF. We have several applications in the pipeline, one notable one that I'll talk about here in a minute. And something else you have to understand is what I'm talking about here, a Bitcoin ETF is a spot ETF. What does that mean? Well, basically it means you can just buy, shares in ETF that track the current price of Bitcoin. Now, that's different from a futures ETF, which is basically speculating on the future price of Bitcoin, hence futures, okay? We have Bitcoin futures ETFs already, but we don't have Bitcoin spot ETFs. And that's important to understand for the decision that I'm going to talk about in just this past few weeks. And so if all these ETFs are getting denied, okay, we've seen lots of applications of the pipeline denials in the past. Who is doing it? Well, it's the SEC in the United States, or the Security and Exchange Commission. Okay, the SEC has long been at odds with crypto, and they are sort of the central bottleneck for seeing these types of rejections for these spot ETFs. But just last week, we saw a major shift that could completely turn the tables for this type of thing and potentially force the SEC's hand to actually approve these to where we could see them go live. And this came out of a court ruling in just the past few weeks between Grayscale versus the SEC. And this is a really important ruling, and you have to understand why. So first of all, let's understand who Grayscale is in the first place. Well, Grayscale has a product called the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, where basically instead of buying Bitcoins themselves, you purchase them through a trust, okay? And the whole idea here is that trust can be an initial product that's put out there, and this trust could be converted into an ETF. Grayscale is one of the people with their name in the hat for a spot ETF application in order to do this. And they were rejected, and they appealed that decision and took it to court against the SEC. The court ruled in Grayscale's favor, saying the commission failed to adequately explain why it's approved the listing of 2 Bitcoin futures exchange traded products, but not Grayscale's proposed Bitcoin exchange traded product. That's massive, okay? So I was talking about a minute ago, we have futures ETFs already, but we just don't have these spot ETFs, and the spot ETFs keep getting rejected. Well, the court said, hey, basically, that's logically inconsistent, that we have these futures products and all these reasons that you're saying we can't have these spot products are invalid because those reasons really apply in the futures cases. We already have these, and so we're going to reject your decision for doing that. And boom, that is major, okay? So what all could come of this? Well, for one, if the SEC basically removes its reasons for denying the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust product, it could very well make it possible for that particular product to get approved. And if that product gets approved, then that could make the way for these other applications in the pipeline to also get approved, including the one from BlackRock. Therefore, continuing on BlackRock's winning streak of nearly 100% success rate of ETF approvals. Now, if all this happens, then why is it such a big deal, really? Like, why could this actually be the cornerstone of the next crypto bull market? Well, of course, it's good news, and crypto tends to pump on, good news. It trades on narratives, okay? But that's not necessarily the only reason why this could be a big deal. Because you have to understand about ETFs, what would that even do for the crypto space? Well, like I said before, it could bring a ton of fresh capital into the system, which could boost the prices. So why is that? Well, namely through institutions, okay? So, institutions can buy crypto in a way that you or I can't. We're talking billions and billions, tens of billions of dollars in liquidity that could flow into the space relatively quickly. You or I can't even pool that type of money. Even if everyone who ever watched my YouTube channel ever put all their money into crypto, it probably wouldn't even come close to that amount. And institutions want exposure to this asset class, and an ETF can be one of the best vehicles for them to do that. Many others also, even in terms of individuals, there's ways where ETFs can give you advantages, okay, for crypto exposure. Maybe through tax advantage retirement accounts. There could be other tax advantage strategies for doing this. There's just lots of ways where it could bring lots of fresh capital in the space. And again, BlackRock is a $10 trillion asset manager. I'm obviously not saying all $10 trillion of that's going to go into crypto. That's absurd. But even if a tiny percentage of that goes into the crypto markets, that can seriously move the needle, because you have to understand how these ETFs work. In order to get the Bitcoin that backs up the ETF, they have to go out onto the open market and actually purchase the Bitcoins to do that, okay? And if other people are out here holding Bitcoins through self-custody or buying them on exchanges, then that's going to affect those markets and therefore affect the price of the assets of people who don't hold them through ETFs. And that will put buy pressure on the markets, and that's going to start to watch the price, maybe slowly go up, maybe rapidly. Either way, there becomes this inflection point where people witness this happening, and they sort of get this fear of missing out, which has a snowball effect, which, boom, can potentially lead us back to all-time highs on major assets like Bitcoin and well beyond. And typically when that happens, the entire crypto market follows suit. And what's even crazier, like I said at the beginning of this video, is this is potentially lining up perfectly with the sort of 4-year cycle thesis for crypto that follows the Bitcoin halvings. And so that's why this is such a big deal and why you need to be paying attention to crypto right now when most people aren't. Congratulations if you made it this far, okay? It's highly likely that you're going to be rewarded for doing that. But if you want to get ahead of the next crypto wave, then what can you do? Well, for one, all the people who aren't watching crypto right now need to be paying attention. So if you know anybody who's interested in this type of thing, you can send them this video. Just share it with them. This is the perfect time to be paying attention again. And if you want to see more videos just like this, outlining these important details as they come out, then make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. But the best way to get ahead of the next coming wave is to double down on your skills now before the space gets crazy again. And so how can you do that? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those videos and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You really don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, Thanks for watching Dapp University.